We are tuned in to fitness and consciousness. Today's episode is called A Vista Point. It's a reference to a video game that my daughter used to play called Portal Runner. And it's a game where this girl, Vicky, she has a lion that she rides around on, and they have these adventures and challenges, and she has a bow and arrow, and it was a game that my daughter really liked, and we'd play it. It was pretty cool. And she would get to this part where it'd be like, and it would say like a Vista Point. And so it's just a chance to like take a breather from all the action and just take a look around and see where you are, see where you came from, see where you're going. And that's what I'm doing here today. Today is December 28th, 2018 for me. And you'll be listening to this at whatever other date that it happens to be, but it's getting towards the end of the year. I'm looking at my goals. I'm looking at where I am now and what this year has given me, what I've accomplished, and what new goals that I've made that I'm working on still. So with the podcast, it started in February. Today is this episode is, I think, episode 81. I've had so many awesome guests, and when I started the podcast in February, if you showed me my guest list as of now back then, like, yeah, these are the people that are going to be on the show, I'd be probably quite overwhelmed and blown away. And it's really humbling and exciting to have. I've had some of the biggest names in the fitness business and a lot of people that maybe you haven't heard of that have these great stories to tell. From the beginning, of course, I want famous people on that have a lot of followers. That helps to grow the show, and it's cool to hear their stories. Where it's inspiring where they came from, and there's a reason why some of them are so popular. They're great at what they do, but there's also like the people that. Some people have nothing to promote. Some of the ones that come on, they have a new book coming out. They have they're selling this program, and that's fine. That's no problem at all. But some of them have absolutely nothing to sell, or some of them that, unless you live in Indianapolis, you wouldn't be able to train with them anyway. So they're not on here to sell stuff. They're on here to express themselves and just kind of explore this thing together. Somewhat recently, I started doing more shows by myself. One of my goals is to express myself better and get more out of my thinking. And Jordan Peterson says that we think by talking. I really understand what he means by that. It's one thing to sit quietly and think through things, and it's another thing to talk through things with someone. How do we do that? And can you really express yourself completely? I would say no. But how close can we get? And how much can we just intuit? How can we just feel what the other person is saying? Some things are going unsaid. There's not really the best word for this. Maybe there's a good word in Sanskrit for it, but we don't know that word. Or maybe there's a good word in Spanish or French. Maybe there's a German phrase that's just right. Don't speak German. how would we get to it? Those these things that I'm thinking about, and it's just this act of expressing my thoughts as they're coming out, or as they're coming to my mind, thinking them through. So, looking back at the show, I'm very proud, and I'm also a bit critical of how some of my shows have been. Some of them I think were really, really great, and just the nature of things, some are going to be better than others. Is every episode of Seinfeld just like the best ever? They're all tied for the most awesome, or some kind of like, and some of them are great, some of them are kind of funny, some of them not so funny. They're not all equal. And maybe different people are going to like different ones, but you can't say that every Seinfeld is the most awesome show that it could have possibly have been. You could have always like tweaked something, and maybe that would make it better, and maybe it wouldn't from different perspectives. I was listening to some of the shows that I did by myself, so I'm hearing what I would change. I'm not super critical, but I do want to improve, and I have a lot of study materials that I have gotten from the library, and I study a lot of podcasters that, well, I won't say a lot really, but a few especially, and see how they do their thing. And I'm not trying to be like them. I'm just trying to get the most out of myself, my own way. If you listen to the show, then, which you obviously are now, you know that I read some poems and songs, and some of them are really old. I have uh, several I think that I'll be sharing today. I spent some time, I've been kind of playing the show for like several days, but I went through a bunch of books. I started off with like a stack of 20 books and kind of whittled my way down to five. Uh, this one is from the spiritual teachings of Ralph Waldo Emerson. Each man, well, I'll start a little earlier. Emerson defined heaven as the state in which the individual existed on earth doing the right work according to universal law. Each man has his own vocation. The talent is the call. There is one direction in which all space is open to him. He has faculties silently inviting him thither to endless exertion. He is like a ship in a river. He runs against obstructions on every side but one. On that side, all obstruction is taken away, and he sweeps serenely over a deepening channel into an infinite sea. Part of what I was thinking of is, we have only so much creative potential. So I like to, my passion is the fitness, teaching people, and I like to play guitar. But I could become a lot better at soccer. So what if I devoted just a half hour a day to my soccer skills? I could get quite a bit better, and basketball too. So maybe I'll devote another half hour a day to basketball. And football, I should devote another half hour a day to football. Polo, yeah, polo. Water polo too. I should, you know, really I don't want to play any of those sports, but there was a time when I did want to be a professional basketball player or baseball player. And there's a lot of interest that I have, and we get so much of this creative energy. So what do we devote our time to? What are we like supposed to do? I don't feel like I'm supposed to be a professional basketball player. Maybe it was a possibility earlier if I tried hard enough. My mom gave me recently a stack of a couple big bags of pictures, and I have a ton of pictures. There were a couple of them that really stuck out. And one of them was is a picture of me. I was probably about 11 years old, and I was dunking like Jordan. So like legs spread, one arm out, jumping from however far away I was and dunking the basketball. She made a basketball court in the backyard for me. And she caught the picture of me dunking like Jordan, the famous, his logo. I when I made my I guess it's kind of my logo, but like my profile picture for like Facebook and Instagram. The girl that took my pictures for that, uh, I had, we were, made the plan to set up at the park like the whatever day it was, and the day before, I just had this image in my mind of me doing this kettlebell technique. I do like kettlebell juggling, and I had this kind of image pop into my mind where I was doing this technique that I've never done before. I've never seen anyone else do it, but I was having the kettlebell spinning on its handle in my palm, like kind of outstretched. I've never tried it before, so we go there and meet up, and we're taking pictures of me doing some different things with the kettlebells, and I tell her what I want to do to capture this image, and I was able to do the technique after I think like two tries. Like my second try, I got it, and I've never seen anyone else do it. Still haven't seen anyone else do it. Not that somebody couldn't be taught, but for a moment, it's in the picture. It's a 35-pound kettlebell, like outstretched in my palm, spinning on the handle, like out kind of it, and it looks kind of like this magical sort of thing. My style, my method, I call it 5 elements of fitness: mobility, stability, strength, power, endurance. So, and also like the 5 elements name should give like a little sense of magic, because it's the blending of these elements, the alchemy, where the magic happens. And so it looks kind of like this magic sort of thing. And for a moment, this 35-pound steel sphere weighs nothing. And I'm holding it out like it's nothing. And it was sometime after that that I saw the similarity to Jordan's symbol. I was a huge Michael Jordan fan when I was a kid. And what I want to do with the kettlebell juggling, maybe similar to like what he was doing with basketball, standing out uh, and just absolutely excellent at what he does. So as I look ahead, from this Vista Point of today, then the year is about to end. We have the new year coming. I look at what I'm doing, like with my business, and I see the changes that I've made over the last year. It was last December that I stopped driving a cab. My girlfriend at the time was She knew I hated it, and it was hard for me to make money at it because of my time that I was spending training people. Because like the cab, I paid a lease, so I'd have to make my lease money first, and then I was making profit. And as long as you work enough, then you make money. But my time was spent at training people, classes, and clients, and so it was this tough spot. So she really encouraged me to just get out of it. And it was something I was doing for 7 years. So it got like stuck in this rut. And I was almost like afraid to try something else because even though it was no longer working for me. So when you drive a cab, it was an independent. So I could take off whenever I wanted to. I could work whatever hours I wanted, but there were no paid days off. And if I had the cab and I wanted to take the day off, fine, but I have to pay the cab lease, which was $85 a day. So if you want to take a day off, sure, it's going to cost you $85 to take a day off. Then in May of this year, I started working what I call my job, my current job. And work on this machine, and I really have this appreciation for it. There may be like a little bit of like resentment sometimes also. I work from 5 in the morning until 1 p.m. And then in the afternoons and evenings, I teach my classes and have my personal training clients. So it's like this gives me the job gives me the foundation to do the other things that I want. And like in the training business, it can be up and down. And you don't get paid days off if you don't have the clients that day. If you take the vacation day, it's fine. You don't get any money for it. So now that I have this job, now I'm getting paid days off. Like Thanksgiving had 2 paid days off. Christmas had 2 paid days off. And for New Year's, I'll have 2 paid days off. So this is the 4-day weekend. So I'll have Monday and Tuesday off and get paid for it. It's pretty cool. So it might not seem like the biggest deal if you're already in that. If you're used to being an employee and these are just things that happen, what's the big deal? Yeah, paid days off, that's what happens. But when you spent the last 8 years mostly as an independent, we had 0 paid days off, gain a real appreciation for it, the consistency. And we had our Christmas party, before this, last weekend, and they gave us like a $100 gift card, just Visa card you can use anywhere. And then we got to go up, like draw your name, and you go up and get something off of this table, and there were several different things, like other gift cards for stores, specific stores, and I got like Bluetooth earphones for working out. They're pretty nice. $25 gift card for Home Depot, and a flannel shirt. I thought it was a men's large, but it turned out to be a female large. So I'm giving it to a friend of mine, but still. And they had this dinner for us, and it was just like really cool to feel like appreciated. You feel appreciated there, or you can if you do. And I'm, the way that he's not the owner, but the guy, like it's like some like higher management guy. It seems like he's been there like 30 some years, and he'll come up and shake your hand and talk to you like you're like you're a real asset to him, like you're and equal. Like when I've met him or talked to him just a couple of short times, he's asked me like what else I do. So I told him about training, and it's just a cool place to work. It's not my passion, but it like gives me this foundation where I can do these other things, and then I don't have to worry so much about money. I make money from training also, but with my goals that I have, I want as much money coming in as I can get, and this allows me getting off work at 1 o'clock to go do the kind of work that I really like is really cool. So there's something about one of the things I was wanting to get across is like the comfort from the discomfort. So if you're familiar with Jocko Willink, he was Navy SEAL, wrote some books, and he posts I think every day on Instagram a picture of his watch, and they'll say he wakes up at 4:30 a.m. I wake up at 4 a.m. So there. No, but the point is, start early. I don't like waking up at 4. If I didn't have to, I wouldn't. That's for sure. But there's something about the comfort from the discomfort of doing something that I don't really like want to do, but it allows me to do the other things that I want to do. So I guess my point for all this is a lot of people are unhappy in their jobs. They're not doing what they're passionate about. Maybe like just see it, just look at it a little bit differently. So much of it is that in the stories that we tell ourselves through the day. Like if you could say, "Oh, I hate this job. Ugh, there's that guy again." And there's some people that seem to be miserable. The place where I work, people are pretty much cool for the most part. There might be a couple grumpy people sometimes, but for the most part, it's cool. But a lot of people hate their job. When I was driving a cab, I hated it most of the time, especially towards the end. It's that comfort that we get from the discomfort. And there was Grateful Dead song. So when I was looking through these books, and I still like the Emersons, it's interesting what pops up when I have these ideas in my mind for a show. And then I start looking through these books, and a lot of times it's the same books that I keep looking through, and these concepts that I'm trying to get across are found. So I'm not reading every single page. I'm not reading 10,000 pages. I'm flipping through and seeing what pops up. This is a song from the Grateful Dead called Keep Your Day Job. Maybe you collect or maybe you pay. Still got to work that 8-hour day. Whether you like that job or not, keep it on ice while you're lining up your long shot, which is to say, hey, keep your day job. Don't give it away. Keep your day job, whatever they say. Ring that bell for whatever it's worth. When Monday comes, don't forget about work. By now, you know that the face on your dollar got a thumb to its nose and a hand on your collar, which is to say, hey, punch that time card, check that clock. When Monday comes, you got to run, not walk. Steady, boy, study that 8-hour day. But don't underrate that paycheck power. If you ask me, which I know you don't, I'd tell you what to do. I'd tell you to do what I know you won't, which is to say, hey, Daddy may drive a V8 vet, Mama may bathe in champagne yet. God bless the child with his own stash, 9 to 5, and a place to crash, which is to say, Keep your day job, don't give it away. Keep your day job, whatever they say. Keep your day job until your night job pays. Words by Robert Hunter, music by Jerry Garcia. He didn't. I wish I could play some of these songs. I don't know how much it costs to get the rights to them, but it's um, going to be more than I'm going to want to spend, I think. Yeah. I would like to do like some, I do it in a way, but it's more like a music appreciation. When I teach my classes, my strength conditioning classes, I'm playing a lot of what I call conscious music. There's Grateful Dead and Pink Floyd and Sanskrit mantras and African music, tribal, Native American tribal music, and it's all kinds of really cool music from around the world. And I try to expose people to that. There's maybe getting off subject here, which might be the good thing to do because I'll be moving on to some other. It's all kind of related, but other subjects. Here's another song by the Grateful Dead. It's called Shakedown Street. You tell me this town ain't got no heart. Well, 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 you can never tell. The sunny side of the street is dark. Well, 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 you can never tell. Maybe that's 'cause it's midnight and the dark of the moon besides. Or maybe the dark is in your eyes. Maybe the dark is in your eyes. Maybe the dark is in your eyes. You know you got such dark eyes. Nothing shaking on Shakedown Street. Used to be the heart of town. Don't tell me this town ain't got no heart. You just gotta poke around. You say you've seen this town clear through. Well, 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 you can never tell. Nothing here that could interest you. Well, 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 you can never tell. It's not because you missed out on the thing we had to start. Maybe you had too much too fast. Maybe you had too much too fast. Maybe you had too much too fast and just overplayed your part. Nothing shaking on Shakedown Street. Used to be the heart of town. Don't tell me this town ain't got no heart. You just gotta poke around. Since I'm passing your way today, well, 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 you can never tell. I just stopped in 'cause I want to say, well, 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 you can never tell. I recall your darkness when it crackled like a thunder cloud. Don't tell me this town ain't got no heart. Don't tell me this town ain't got no heart. Don't tell me this town ain't got no heart when I can hear it beat out loud. Nothing shaking on Shakedown Street. Used to be the heart of town. Don't tell me this town ain't got no heart. You just gotta poke around. Words by Robert Hunter. Music by Jerry Garcia. No, I wanted to read that one. I like that one, but also it's kind of like how we look at things. The song speaks for itself. I won't analyze it too much. I'm going to read I'm going to read two more. The second one's going to be the kind of the segue into the next part that I want to talk about. This friend of mine. This one's not the segue. It's whatever it is. This one's called "Eyes of the World," Grateful Dead song. Right outside this lazy summer home, you don't have time to call your soul a critic, no. Right outside the lazy gate of winter's summer home, wondering where the nuthatch winters, wings a mile long, just carried the bird away. Wake up to find out that you are the eyes of the world, but the heart has its beaches, its homeland, and thoughts of its own. Wake now, discover that you are the song that the morning brings. but the heart has its seasons, its evenings, and songs of its own. There comes a Redeemer, and he slowly too fades away. There follows a wagon behind him that's loaded with clay, and the seeds that were silent all burst into bloom and decay. The night comes so quiet, and it's close on the heels of the day. Sometimes we live no particular way but our own. Sometimes we visit your country and live in your home. Sometimes we ride on your horses. Sometimes we walk alone. Sometimes the songs that we hear are just songs of our own. Words by Robert Hunter, music by Jerry Garcia. One more, and then I'm going to talk about this friend of mine. This one's called High Time. You told me goodbye. How was I to know? You didn't mean goodbye. You meant please, don't let me go. I was having a high time, living the good life. Well, I know. The wheels are muddy, got a ton of hay. Now listen here, baby, 'cause I mean what I say. I'm having a hard time, living the good life. Well, I know. I was losing time, I had nothing to do, no one to fight. I came to you. Wheels broke down, the leader won't draw. The line is busted, the last one I saw. Tomorrow come trouble, tomorrow come pain. Now don't think too hard, baby, 'cause you know what I'm saying. I could show you a high time, living the good life. Don't be that way. Nothing's for certain, it could always go wrong. Come in when it's raining, go out when it's gone. We could have us a high time, living the good life. Well, I know. Words by Robert Hunter, music by Jerry Garcia. You know, I'm reading through these poems and books and stories and that Tagore and Wilbur Gibran and Rumi died in 1223. And like I have right here what he was writing. And I think the Grateful Dead holds up to any comparison, the greatness of their lyrics, music. Where was I? So I have this friend of mine, and she's going through this breakup, and there was a time that her and I kind of dated. We were just friends most of the time, but so I don't want to say too much. Well, her and I, you know, we talk, and she's been really down about this breakup that she's going through. Like this guy is really critical of her, and you know, he doesn't even like really seem like the kind of guy that she would like anyways, but she does. Some, you know, who knows why we like who we like sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. When she sent me a message, and I hated that I responded right away, but it was like, I'll call you in a couple hours because I was with clients. I'm going to be with clients for a while, but she was talking about, I won't say who it was, but I'll read the exact text. And I mean, getting this message, you just, it's not, you know, really uncommon. I've had several friends, you know, send me messages that were something like this, or like, you know, not necessarily send me messages, but talk to me about these things. there was a blind guy that I knew, and I was taking him home. It was when I was driving the cab, and he, say like sometimes he just wants to commit suicide, and um, I had another friend that he called me and he was really drunk, and he was asking me like what I would thought if he just like blew his brains out. And it's like trying to like talk to these people, and like what can I say, and to make sure I'm saying the right things, being honest, and talking them down and taking the time, not being like, oh well, I'll just talk about that later, I gotta go. Like, I remember that was kind of what I was thinking that when the one friend called me and he was talking about that, like, what would you think if I just blew my brains out? And it was like really late, and I was tired, and wanting to go to sleep, but you can't go to sleep like that. And so just kept talking until it wasn't like that anymore. So he was on a different trip, I guess. So I get this message. Um, Sometimes I feel no point in living. Sometimes I just want to die. I might as well. I feel dead inside. I wish I could turn off this feeling. I don't know how. And my response was, I'm with a client. I'll call you later. And normally I wouldn't even use my phone if I'm with a client, but you get a message like that. It's like, and I um, thought it was really great that she sent me that message. Not that I want to hear somebody going through that, but that she knew that she could trust me. She knew I would. She knows I care, and I'll talk to her for however long she wanted to talk, even though I couldn't do it right then. But it's amazing how common those thoughts are. And so when I was able to talk to her, end up like, she ends up, she like tore up about this guy and like where she is in her life and her career. And this guy wasn't nice to her about such things, not very understanding. It was like, well, I'd like you if you changed these things. So we'll be together, and I'm going to give you a hard time about those things. That's ridiculous. Like he doesn't have stuff to work on. Like Ram Dass has this cool quote: "We're all just walking each other home. Got to be easy on each other, easy on ourselves, easy on each other." This is from Khalil Gibran, the prophet. And a woman spoke, saying, "Tell us of pain." And he said, "Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. Even as the stone of the fruit must break, that its heart may stand in the sun, so must you know pain. And could you keep your heart in wonder at the daily miracles of your life, your pain would not seem less wondrous than your joy. And you would accept the seasons of your heart, even as you have always accepted the seasons that pass over your fields. And you would watch with serenity through the winters of your grief. Much of your pain is self-chosen. It is the bitter potion by which the physician within you heals your sick self. Therefore, trust the physician and drink his remedy in silence and tranquility. For his hand, though heavy and hard, is guided by the tender hand of the unseen. And the cup he brings, though it burn your lips, has been fashioned of the clay which the potter has moistened with his own sacred tears. You know, there's there's a quote that I'll put sometimes, and I don't always put the reference, and I think some people probably get it and some people don't. But it's, my people have a saying, when we ask the Great Spirit for strength, he sends us difficulties which make us strong. John Redcorn. John Redcorn was the Native American on the cartoon King of the Hill. But I think it's a really good quote. And I don't know if it really comes from, I don't know where it comes from really. I usually just say it came from him. Good enough. We have these difficulties and these things that pop up in our path. Why is it so difficult? And why do people seem to have a lot harder time with some stuff than others? I was thinking of, just like these stories that we tell ourselves, and like when I was preparing for this show just a little bit ago, writing out the outline, I was listening to Russell Brand podcast, and he was with, I think her name is Candace Owens. I could be mistaken about that, but he tends to interrupt people a lot. Now, he has a lot to say, and he's brilliant. I don't agree with him on a lot of stuff, but I do think he's brilliant in the way that he expresses himself is interesting and insightful. But we have different views on. My point is, he was interrupting her a lot. She has, she's a guest on his show. She's in the middle of a sentence. She's in the middle of a paragraph. She's in the middle of a story, and he's interrupting because he wants to express himself and make some kind of point. And then, so then it becomes like arguing, and then it's, it gets louder, and they're talking over each other. And during this time, I'm going through my books for the different poems or songs that I wanted to read. So I have like this distraction. So I'm like listening for, maybe sometimes I'll watch something and it'll have, something like what I just happen to be pulling up these things that are relevant. I'm flipping through all these pages, and I just happen to be turning to the pages that are relevant to what I was wanting to talk about. And so it happens sometimes when I'm listening to something too. It'll have it was just like just distracting. It's hard to listen to. The bickering and the interrupting. But what I kind of got from that is, we're on these path, this path, each one our own, and we get these interruptions. We get injuries that can throw us off. We get some kind of illness, or maybe there's interruptions. I'm trying to save this much money per week, and I'm doing that, and it's going great. And then I have a car problem that cost me $800 and some dollars, and I have it. It's okay, but it throws off what I was trying to do uh, that much. But then it only just takes one step back. So now it's back to normal, or but prepared for that next distraction. But there's like the saying, like you can take 10 steps off the path, and it only takes one step to get back on it. And one of the other, I was talking about the pictures that my mom sent me, my mom gave me. And another cool one was when my daughter was maybe like 2 or 3, maybe. She had this, my mom had like this, like little kids, like basketball goal, like all plastic, kind of a thing for little kids. But my daughter was still too young to be able to like throw the ball into the basket. So maybe it was like 4 or 5 feet high, but still um, too high for her to really shoot a basket. And so the picture is me pulling the basket, pulling the goal down, and she's dunking it. So she still had to reach for the goal, but I was bringing it within her possibility, within her. I was helping her reach her goal, but she still had to reach for it. And I thought that uh, had a lot of metaphor in it. Is that the right word, metaphor? It's like there's a whole story in it. So I didn't just take the ball from her and throw it in the goal. I could have done that. If the ball needs to go in the goal and through the hoop, I could have just taken it from her and thrown it in there myself. But that's crazy, right? She's trying to play this game. She's trying to play. And so I brought the goal within her reach, and she still had to reach. And she was dunking it. And I think a lot of times, as kids, even though I'm 39, still my dad died about 12 years ago, 13 years ago. My mom's still alive, like still her kid. So it's kind of strange to have adult kids. My daughter will be 21 in February, which seems crazy. So I have an adult kid, and my son will be 18 in February. So having adult kids is kind of a strange thing. We don't really know what they do for us, or our parents, until we have our own kids and we see what it's like to help them reach their goals. And sometimes they don't do the things that we hope they would do, but that's part of becoming their own adult, becoming their own parent also. From Rumi. I'm going to start to wrap it up. I have a couple more things that I was wanting to read. Sometimes I get a little carried away, picking out all these things, but there's so much good stuff. This is called, well, it's from the book A Year with Rumi. Some souls have gotten free of their bodies. Do you see them? Open your eyes for those who escape to meet with other escapees, whose hearts associate in a way they have of leaving their false selves to live a truer self. I don't mind if my companions wander away for a while. They will come back like a smiling drunk. Thirsty ones die of their thirst. A nightingale sometimes flies from a garden to sing in the forest. This is called The King Inside Rumi. There are people with their eyes open whose hearts are shut. What do they see? Matter. But someone whose love is alert, even if the eyes go to sleep, he or she will be waking up thousands of others. If you are not one of those light-filled lovers, restrain your desire body's intensity. Put limits on how much you eat and how long you lie down. But if you are awake here in the chest, sleep long and soundly, your spirit will be out roaming and working even on the seventh level. Muhammad says, I close my eyes and rest in sleep, but my love never needs to rest. The guard at the gate drowses. The king stays awake. You have a king inside who listens for what delights the soul. The king's wakefulness cannot be described in a poem. One more Rumi. One transparent sky. Lovers think they are looking for each other, but there is only one search. Wondering this world is wondering that, both inside one transparent sky. In here, there is no dogma and no heresy. The miracle of Jesus is himself, not what he said or did about the future. Forget the future. I would worship someone who could do that. On the way, you may want to look back or not. But if you can say, there is nothing ahead, there will be nothing there. Stretch your arms and take a hold. The cloth of your clothes with both hands. The cure for pain is in the pain. Good and bad are mixed. If you don't have both, you do not belong with us. When someone gets lost, is not here, he must be inside us. There is no place like that anywhere in the world. One more thing, and I will wrap it up. Two more. These are from Tagore. Unfathomable by Tagore. Do you fail to understand me? You view me plaintively, straining to fathom me, like the moon looking steadily at the depths of the sea. I haven't hidden anything from you. All I have is for you to view. Myself I have revealed. I am all before you on show. Is that why you won't understand me? If it were merely a gem, I'd cut it into pieces. Weaving the bits into a chain carefully, I'd place them on your neck lovingly. If it were merely a flower, beautiful and delicately shaped, blossoming at the break of day, swaying in the spring breeze, I'd pluck it from its stalk carefully and place it on your black tresses lovingly. But I spread before you, dear, my heart. Can its depths from its bank be kept apart? Too deep to fathom, too enigmatic a retreat. How can I its past reveal or its future predict? Nevertheless, dear, it's yours to queen over. What would I have you believe? About what in my innermost being keeps ringing day and night in silent music, in wordless stillness, spreading across the heavens like tunes pervading the night. If it were only a question of happiness, a smile emerging on the lips would give rise to immense bliss, conveying instantly the heart's tidings, overlooking the need for speech. If it were only a question of grieving, of glistening eyes and tears being shed, of pale lips and a sad face, you'd see the pain in me easily. You'd read my thoughts instantly. But love, dear, has inundated my heart, and there's no limiting its sorrow or delight. It always pines away, and yet always revives. Day and night its perplexities leave me reeling, and so I fail to tell you about it. But what if you don't understand me? Keep me always in sight, judge me in a shifting light. Study me thoroughly day and night. Fathom the parts of me you can. Who could ever the whole comprehend? Last one, Songs of Nature. Still reading from Tagore. The universal vina strums on. The people of the world are enchanted by the sound of the vina. On land, water, skylines, forests, and groves, on mountains, caves, rivers, streams, and oceans, each day hums with sweet-sounding music. Each day is full of delightful dances. In ever new spring, ever new joys, ever new festive notes. Lovely, very lovely, harmonious sounds in arbors. I hear, oh hear, warbling amidst leaves and branches, cuckoos calling in flower gardens all by themselves. The gentle breeze rolling over lakes. Melodious, playful, sweet-sounding notes keep ringing out over dense green forests. The wind wanders about. From riverbanks, reed thickets, rustling sounds arise, countless notes, innumerable voices, ever-flowing melodies everywhere. During monsoons, ever new joys, ever new festive notes, profound, very profound drum rolls rumbling through blue skies. The goddess Durga in her destructive mood dancing. Behold clouds over rivers ceaselessly pouring. Behold their furious, frightful notes reverberating. Over secluded pile and tamal groves, the streaming breeze singing stirring notes in darkness. Frenzied lightning putting on a dazzling show under the sky. Countless notes, innumerable voices, ever-flowing melodies everywhere. In the month of Ashwin, new joys, ever new festive notes on clear, very cloudless, bright days. Earth dressing itself up in autumn's graceful guises, the new moon glowing and sparkling, smiling brightly, very clearly displaying itself in the midst of the azure sky. In its white embrace, the white Venus strumming on, the overture sounding soft and sweet in the behag mode. Moonbeams seducing flower gardens to tunes of crickets chirping, countless notes, innumerable voices, ever flowing melodies everywhere. The Vista Point, from where I am, looking at the past year, New Year's coming up here soon, and think about the people that pop in and out of my life. People seem to come along for a reason. People often seem to come along for a reason. In this podcast, I want it to be something that people can, the idea is to kind of like stimulate thought and action is part of the description. I want to give people a platform to express themselves and a place for people to find new treasures in people. I mean, it's not just a show about fitness. You know, the fitness can mean mental fitness. Fitness can mean a lot of different things. And consciousness can cover almost anything also. So going forward, I have some good guests that I'm planning now, and I'll keep having amazing guests. I'll still do shows by myself, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. I've read that, I heard that like the 95% of podcasts end by their 13th episode. And I would just encourage people to, find ways to express yourself and do what it is that you're supposed to do, and don't get too bogged down if you have to have a job that doesn't seem to fit you. You can always, as diverse as we got today, from the Grateful Dead to Rumi to Gore, Khalil Gibran, Ralph Waldo Emerson, they all had like these same sort of themes. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I appreciate people listening. You can support the show on Patreon or Podbean for as little as $1 per month. And it also helps just to hit subscribe, hit share, hit like. Those all those make a difference. So I don't know if I'll do another show before the New Year's or not, but Happy New Year, everyone. No matter what month you happen to be listening to this in. And don't forget to, take time to enjoy the Vista Point.